Oh, what's up? What am I doing? This is not a what's up channel. Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome. Well, great start, bro. Welcome back to another episode of Down Under. This is your boy Ash. Brody, as you guys know, shout out to you, Brody. How's things been on your neck of the woods, my bro? I know I've been away for a little bit, but how are you feeling this week, man?
Busy, bro. Busy as always at work. Stock take, if anybody knows what a stock take is like, it's absolutely trash. Busy, bro. How about yourself?
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean, bro. Obviously working in the same workplace. Stock take coming up. It's a massive rush. We're seeing everyone else around. Yeah, bro, I'm good. Obviously coming back from New Zealand, settling back in. That first day back at work was a bit... Oh, mate, tan over in New Zealand. Oh, my God. That's the one thing about New Zealand, bro. It is like a completely different color palette to what Australia is, eh? Like, honestly, Australia is so vibrant in that. You know, like, because the greenstone is so big in New Zealand, right? Like, obviously, it's part of their culture and that. Like, it resembles New Zealand so well because it's so mystical and that green, you see that green everywhere. It's crazy. I don't know.
Definitely.
All right, guys, what's up? Brody there with Jazz. Shout out to Rod. Thank you so much for coming through, my bro. Whoever invented stock takes doesn't follow the NRL. Shout out to you, bro. Fishing with the lads. What's happening, my bro? What's doing, boys? What's happening, brother? Thank you so much for coming through, guys. Appreciate all the new chatters jumping into to the chat. I think it's obviously come from the Rugby League 26 content I've been putting on my channel. So thank you so much, guys, for all the big support there. Brody, are you curious to buy Rugby League 26 anytime soon? They are slowly fixing the game. I know that was a little bit of the worry to start with, but how are you feeling?
I don't think so, brother. I think I'm just going to come on here and chat shit instead. Like, I don't have time for both this, watching games and playing in the game. I think my missus will leave me.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough slog, mate. You know, the doghouse is getting quite full. Me and the two girls there in the doghouse, my two little puppies. So yeah, I was going to say, I should have prefaced that, eh? Yeah. But thank you so much, guys, for coming through another episode of Down Unders here, guys. Obviously, this is a live show. Make sure you jump into the chat. Let us know your thoughts about all the news and all that we're bringing to the channel. Not too much news around rugby league right now, but we might as well touch on some big stuff going on in the league after the weekend that was your Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, brother. Let's go. Let's touch on the doggies, mate. Let's touch on the doggies. Incredible performance out there. You know, I obviously touched on this with you where I thought Manly came out like swinging to start that game. You know, the energy they ran out there with, the contact, they're really trying to take it to you guys, try to like, you know, pretty much frazzle you guys. Obviously, he's taken a little bit for your Lockie Galvin combination and that, but then you just went bang and just powered straight through. Lockie Galvin fit in really well. Matty Burton probably had one of his best games this season. Your thoughts on the performance in general, bro? Like, you very, very proud on that one. Like, I know the media coverage probably won't go crazy on the win because it's Manly, but they should, because Manly are a tough side when they're red hot and ready to go. And I believe they were red hot and ready to go in this game. You just pumped them.
Yeah, well, look, Manly coming off a win against Melbourne. They would have been on a high. They would have been trying to replicate the same against us. So I'll take it. Look, I know it's Manly. I know they're not a top 8 side right now. But look, a win's a win. And a good performance like that is what I've been waiting for. Like, really just a shutout. And it was just beautiful to see. It's good to see the combinations, give the boys a lot of confidence. Hopefully we do the same again this week against the Tigers, and then right into some of those harder games carrying that confidence. But it just shows that Ciro has been putting a lot in place with this Galvin move, and it just really did pay off.
Yeah, 100%, bro. It's really good to see because obviously there was so much pressure on the Galvin move in general. As we all know, the media, as soon as they get their teeth into something, they really want to rip it apart, as we know from the Tigers and stuff like that. But, you know, the doggies just continue to power through all the news and right now, sitting second in the competition, you know, fighting up the top there with the Raiders. How confident are you feeling on your run home, bro? This maybe even nick like a pole position by the end of the season. Do you think that's a little bit out of your grasp at the moment with the Raiders playing the way they are, or do you think you got a good opportunity with the run home that you have?
I think we have a little bit of a harder run home than Canberra, and they've still got a bye up their sleeves. So I dare say Canberra is going to take out that top spot. I'll be very happy if the boys can hold in for second. I don't want to fall to that third and play Melbourne week 1 of the finals in Melbourne. I'll happily play Melbourne, but not in Melbourne week 1 of the finals. So, and then, you know, really test ourselves that first week, knowing that we've still got that second chance up our sleeve. But nothing better for the doggies' confidence and the fan base to get around a home final in week 1 to win that game, hopefully, and go straight through is ideal. But I think if you're going to play Melbourne, you definitely can't play them week 1 in Melbourne and expect to really get a win in finals time.
Yeah, and over here with Manly too, bro. Your thoughts around Manly and their point in this season? They're 9-9, sitting in 9th position right now. Obviously, we know how close this mid-pack of the competition is. How are you feeling with their season? Do you think, like, you know, obviously they got the good win against Melbourne, then they've come back and obviously you guys powered through them, as we said before, but I did feel like they turned up to start that game, and I felt like maybe, you know, there was some moments in this game where, you know, I thought that they were trying to take charge, but just you guys were forcing it away from them. Are you confident that they can maybe fight for an 8 spot, or do you think these other teams like the Roosters are really trying to charge home? You know, the Cowboys have been really hot and cold this season where they have a chance. Like, how are you feeling with this top 8? Like, do you think Manly will find their way in there at the moment, or do you think they're just a little bit further away from where they need to be?
The two teams I see potentially dropping out, well, not Manly because they're already out of the 8, but the team I see maybe dropping out is like the Broncos and Manly.
Yep.
And I think their spots will be taken by either Redcliffe or the Roosters. I don't really give the Cowboys too much of a chance. They're too inconsistent there. And I don't think Manly's going to hold on to making a run for that top 8. I think that spot will be taken by the Dolphins and potentially the Roosters. I know the Roosters are 2 wins away, but I just think if they can get it right and get a few things going their way, you know, we're starting to see them string together a few good games, just not getting the dub in that game last week there.
Yeah, just back to the ladder here, and like just obviously touching on how close it is. Like the Broncos and the Panthers on 10 wins there, just outside. The Sharkies on 11. You know, still a bye to come for the Sharkies as well. Obviously, you know, there's been a lot of talk around how the Sharkies are playing this season. When you sort of look at us, you know, all the talk around, because obviously we'll get to my side and obviously us dropping points against the Titans over the weekend, which kind of threw a loop of like, you know, maybe there's a side that can jump into that bottom part of the top 4. And the Sharkies have never been kind of discussed there, even though they are kind of in a way the closest to us in that sort of sense. Obviously, you know, the Panthers have a draw there that has got them a little bit above, plus the bye that they've played. Like, do you see, like, out of these guys here, you know, my Warriors with a lot of injuries going on, I'm hoping that we can hold on. I still believe that we have the potential to hold on to that top 4. But if we were to drop out, who are you looking at? Like, are you definitely set on Penrith at the moment, saying that they're running 100%. Home the way they're playing? Yeah. Yeah,
well, I know that, you know, Penrith has still got to play that top 3 there in the weeks to come. But, you know, they're going to relish that leading into the finals. And I think they will. If you guys lose another game or 2, they will steal that top 4 spot. I don't think the Broncos could do it. I think the Sharkies potentially could do it with the bye up their sleeve as well. But there's no consistency in the Sharks, man. There really isn't. You know, that soft underbelly still. Yeah, I don't see them doing it. I think Penrith, and I'm very scared for Penrith to make that top 4.
How crazy has the season been? You know, at one point this season, everyone was writing off. I wrote off the Panthers at one point of the season, thinking that, you know, they're no way of getting into the top 4 sort of spot, and even in the top 8 sort of spot. But now they're like thriving in the top 8. They're ready to go. And like, this discussion has been popped up a couple of times. And do you believe that, like, you know, out of all the teams in this in that top 8, you know, outside of the top 4, the Penrith Panthers are probably the only one you reckon can do it outside of that top 4? Or do you think, like, if the Broncos make it in, or let's say the Dolphins or something like that, could shake up that top 8 to get into a grand final and maybe win this thing?
It's hard to say. You know, finals is very different, and Dolphins haven't played finals yet. You know, and it's experience is such a big thing when it comes to finals games. You know, when you know that there's no next week, and you have to show up, that's when time matters. You know, like, even if Manly were to manage to sneak into the 8, I think that they're a team that could make it to that second week, maybe that third week, which is with the team they got. But I know they're missing a few of their key members in the forward pack. But just, you know, the experience of Tom Trbojevic, Daly Cherry Evans, that would go a long way for a team like them. Whereas, like, I feel like the Sharks and the Dolphins are missing that. They're lacking that experience. Whereas, if Manly, Roosters, those type of teams get in, big day, big team, you know, they could pull something off. But obviously we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I'm right there with you. And quickly before we jump off of, like, the Dogs and all that sort of chat there, Connor Tracy going down for a little while now. First is confirmed 3 weeks out, right, from the start?
Yeah, 3 to 4 weeks.
3 to 4 weeks with a stomach injury, pretty much saying that he ruptured his stomach or whatever sort of happened there. He's worked himself to a standstill in this game. I was just checking some of the stats as well. Run for 307 meters. We'll get on our team of the weeks a little bit later on too, guys. He's pretty much as close to a shoe-in as any of them. But like, how big of a drop is that for 3 weeks out of the, like, on your run home, having Connor Tracy there? And who do you think will fill in that role, especially for the run home? Obviously, you've named, who have you named in that fullback position this week again? Sorry, Jacob Carraz is back there this week. Do you see any other change into that position there?
Nah, I think Jacob Krause will do the job, brother. Look, Connie Tracy's been huge, man. He's so reliable. He has your heart in your mouth at some moments when he's throwing some passes late there on that kick return. But it's just such a workhorse type mentality. It's, put your body on the line, and that's exactly what Jacob Krause is going to do. Our fullback isn't such a key member to our attack in good ball zone, and that's why I'm confident that Jacob Krause will do the job. He'll just eat the meters out of the back end. He's just going to be like for like with Connor Tracy, hit up after hit up after hit up. And then, it's really going to be on Galvin and Birdo to really control the good ball zone, which I think they really can do. They don't have Tracy involved too much in that anyway. It wouldn't surprise me if Serraldo has a couple of tricks up his sleeve there.
Yeah, 100%, bro. So very, very curious to see how this continues to play out for the Dogs. But after that performance over the weekend, I think it's made a lot of people back to being believers. But there'll always be those people out there that are just always going to find a way to kind of say they're not with the pack at the moment. They're with the pack. They're fighting really hard. They're playing incredible footy. And I think that was one of the best displays of Doggies footy over the weekend, especially Birdo stepping up to the plate the way he did.
Yeah, look, Birdo, I love his running game. He's really brung his running game now, and that's what he really needs to lean on. Big body, good footwork, and just that run-first mentality. When you got guys like Bronson Sherry, Kikau outside of you, man, it's almost unstoppable when you look to run first. But again, not getting too excited with the big win. I know it's only Manly. The time will tell in the next coming weeks when we play Melbourne, when we play Penrith.
Yeah, 100%. And touching on Penrith, as you just touched on just then, Penrith Panthers 36-2 against the West Tigers. Again, I didn't get to watch a ton of footy over the weekend. I was over in New Zealand, and the time differences over there. Shout out to all the New Zealand fans out there. It is so tough to watch footy at the great times. Like, we all know in Australia, those Friday night games, bro, where you got the 6 p.m., the 5 p.m. game, 6 p.m. game, and your later one's your 8 p.m. game. In New Zealand, that just switches everything around. I think the first one's at 8 p.m. and your last one's at 10 p.m., which is your main game in Australia. So shout out to all the Kiwi fans to stay up and watch as much footy as they can. But incredible performance from the Penrith Panthers, bro. They just continue to keep chugging along. We kind of discussed this more so in the last couple of weeks in that, but Penrith are definitely back, yeah? You're pretty set in stone that they're going to be a big threat coming into finals now.
Yeah, well, what's that in a row? 5, 6?
I think it's 6 in a row, yeah.
And, they played the Tigers, I think outside of that 6 weeks ago, and only got home just against them.
Yep.
And then they went and put a cricket score on them this time. So that just shows you how well Penrith are going and how well they're adapting to what they've seen this year. And they're really finding some comfort with their players coming back from Origin, and guys are firing. They're firing on all cylinders. They're learning how Cleary wants to play the game. Nathan, this is, and they're just feeding off that.
7 in a row. Thank you. Sorry, 7 in a row. 7 in a row. Just incredible performances back to back to back. Nathan Cleary just doing it with ease over the weekend from what I saw, just scheming across the park, picking his moments really to key in on. Lindsay Smith stepping up in that game, playing an incredible footy at the moment as well. Shout out to Isaac Tungo and all that, stepping up in the right times. Liam Martin looked like he got back into some sort of form there. Dylan Edwards, as we all know, just works himself to a standstill as well. They are going to be a very, very tough team to stop. If you're going to predict it right now, and obviously you're a guy that calls it straight as well, don't take my heart into consideration here, but if you got to pick between the Warriors or the Panthers to make it as top 4 right now with how's it stands, which way are you kind of betting on?
With the added injuries to you guys this week, I'm really finding it hard for you to get a win this week against the fresh Dolphins squad off the bye. They're going to have plenty of time to get over to New Zealand and chill. That's going to be another game you guys drop, and Penrith have the Titans this week. They're going to make that look easy, so they creep that little bit closer. And then you play our boys in Sydney, and obviously I'm going to be back in my boys. So that to me is now 3 losses in a row that I'm seeing you guys have. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope you guys do get up this week, but I'm starting to see a little bit of a slide with the injury toll taking its toll on you guys. All I'm hoping for you guys is that after that little slump, you guys get some troops back, have a good run into the finals and make the finals. And take really good serious part in the finals. But I think you might lose that top 4 spot. But my question for you is, do Penrith need to be in the top 4 to take the grand final out?
I don't think so. I really don't. I do think it's going to be an uphill battle though. Like, I do think that they've run 7 straight now. They'll have to continue to win, and they've done this before. Like, earlier years, they went a whole year. They went only 1 loss in a year. What was that in 2021, 22, where they went 1 or 2 losses throughout the whole season? Just an incredible season. So they can do it, right? Obviously, as you said before, they've got that tougher run towards the finals. Does that take a little bit of steam off them? Maybe. But you know that any team that gets into that finals series and understands finals and how to take their game to another level is the Penrith Panthers. So just them being there is always going to be a massive threat, I believe.
Look, I think even if they win these next 2 games, Penrith, and then even if they just win one of those games out of the Doggies, Canberra and Melbourne, Ivan's not going to be too worried because he knows that come finals, it's going to be a bit different ball game. And in finals, honestly, the only team that I can see maybe beating Penrith is the Storm. I don't think if it was elimination final, I don't see my boys, unfortunately, getting it done. We played that semi-final type game against them a couple of weeks ago, and we just couldn't crack them, and we had more ball position than they guys did. Hopefully our attack has hit another gear now with Galvin, and it continues to grow from the weekend, but I don't see it. And I don't see Canberra being able to shut out Penrith that just chip away in an elimination game. So I think if Penrith make the finals, I'm very scared, and I think they are going to make the finals, and I really hope it's not a top 4 situation.
We'll try our best that we can, hey?
Warriors,
we'll try the best that we can. We're struggling over here, bro, but we'll find a way. And with saying that too, bro, what an incredible year that has been already. That's what my first preface, just in general, for the Raiders to be at the top of the competition, you guys to be in the top 4, us to be in the top 4, the way the season sort of panned out. It is kind of it takes, I don't know, it feels so weird now to go back to, we're probably going to have a Melbourne Penrith grand final more than likely if everything kind of goes the way it continues to go, which sucks so much because it kind of felt like this could be the year where we get to see maybe a Raiders Doggies grand final, or, something that's going to be really out of the norm. But it's looking like it's tracking towards that. But with saying that, there's another team to talk about that discussion too, brother. The Melbourne Storm. So obviously they just scraped by the Roosters over the weekend in such an entertaining game. I actually got to watch this before I jumped on the plane that night, and it just back and forth. It was a complete shootout. Jerome Hughes goes down, and we'll touch on him very, very shortly. But Harry Grant steps up and just continues to just do amazing things in that number 9 jersey for the Melbourne Storm. Melbourne, with how they're tracking right now, Jerome Hughes being out, depending on how long he's out for, can they win this comp without him?
100%.
They can?
100%, bro. In all honesty, we've seen it on the weekend. That was a hungry Roosters team that knew how important that win was. And even with Hughes going down, they found a way to still get rolled. And they had to come from behind as well, Melbourne, to do it.
Yep.
So, and that was out without Pappenhausen and Munster. Now those 2 guys come back straight away because it's send out the signals. Hughes has gone down. Bang. 3 stars still back in that squad. And Tyrone Wishart, bro, is no slap. So,
no. And we're discussing that too. Do you think Tyrone Wishart's going to take over that 7 jersey, or do you think they go Jonah Pezzett to keep Tyrone Wishart as that impact player off the bench?
It wouldn't surprise me either way, brother. And either way, they're not going to have a major role. Their job's not going to be to win games for the team. Their job is to make their tackles, kick well. Other than that, it's going to be Munster and Hughes just dominating. Munster and Grant just dominating, like we've seen in Queensland, and like we've seen Grant take control over the weekend. Add, Cam Munster back into that mix, and now Pappenhausen. Scary times.
It's so slick, bro. Honestly, they watching that game, you're 100% right. I felt like the Roosters came to play, and the Roosters usually, the Melbourne Storm Roosters games for the last couple of years have just put out just absolute bangers back to back. And this game was, you know, add on top of that, you know, when Lindsay Collins went over and then Zach Docker-Clay kind of pushed it out even further, I was like, okay, yo, all right. So I think the Roosters have probably got this one locked down, and then Melbourne just go bang, bang, and kind of just bring it all the way back. You know, Harry Grant just goes, nah, mate, like I've got different, you know, I'm going to really take control of this game. Stefano getting over, it looked like probably his best game, I think, of the season for the Melbourne Storm. Josh King, bro, incredible out there as well. Oh man, like that's just, that team is definitely going to be a worry. And like that was the whole discussion. Any news around Jerome Hughes or how long he's out for? I've heard different rumors of different things. A lot of people are saying it may be a long term. Like Cooper Cronk said today,
he's avoided surgery now, is what I've heard. So I think now that he's avoided surgery, he will be back for finals, I do believe. Yep. Whether they risk him week 1 of finals or, you know, play him the whole games in finals will be a tell. Bellamy will be very smart with it, and he'll just be trying to get Jerome Hughes ready for grand final day. That's what I think he'll have in his mind, whether that's playing 20 minutes in the prelim or 30 minutes in the elimination. If he's not needing to risk him, he won't risk him until game day, which is grand final day, if they get there. But he'll risk him if he feels like it needs to be risked.
Yeah, 100%. So it's another Jerome Luai situation with the Penrith Panthers running into finals.
Jerome Luai, Cooper Cronk, you know, just dictate.
Very similar. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I probably see it a very similar way. You know, they do look a tiny bit less potent with Jerome Hughes there, but Melbourne Storm, without Jerome Hughes, just bring back to the pack just a tad, but they're still like the top of that pack. Like they're
100%.
They're still such an incredible side, bro. Like they're really, really tough to contend with. And just quickly before we jump over to our team of the week, bro, and some of the segments of the week, 2 shocker performances or 2 shocker, you know, upset wins over the weekend. The first of all, the Brisbane Broncos going down to the Parramatta Eels at Suncorp Stadium. You know, Brisbane were on this complete roll. Parramatta come in. You know, Mitchell Moses comes back into that jersey, that number 7 jersey, and just completely shows out at Suncorp Stadium to get him that win. The Broncos, like you kind of touched on it before, how much does it hurt the Broncos, like for their run in the finals? Do you still see them making their top 8, that top 4 hopes, like out now? Like what are you feeling with the Brisbane Broncos?
Yeah, I don't see them making top 4. I don't see that. You know, they've still got Melbourne to play. I'm not sure the rest of their run home, but I know they've still got Melbourne to play in that mix. But you know, I think they need to stop reading the newspaper. You know, it was blown up all week. You know, their preferred spine, the first time they're playing together, you know, with Haas and Carrigan as well. So whatever they were calling them, the top 6 or whatever, made this huge bloody rap about it. We're playing the Eels. You heard all their supporters getting excited, and they come out and they dish out that performance. Like, yeah, it's just disappointing, man. And you know, Parramatta didn't really have that great of a chance of winning this game. They just had a really good, basic, simple game plan, which was find Reece Walsh out of position, out the back, make sure the ball's on the ground, and he's isolated at the back because you know he doesn't run it back. He just dives at the ground. That's not going to give your wingers confidence to want to take the next carry with the whole set defensive line there when the fullback gets the ball and dives to the ground. He doesn't want to bring the ball back. No. How are your wingers then going to want to cut the ball back out for a tough carry if the fullback's not doing it? And then on top of that, it was just, you know, Mitch Moses' masterclass with Lomax, you know, finding the winger out of position and putting it over the top, and just defended well.
And shout out to the Parramatta Eels, man. Jason Riles, you know, what he's done with that side at the moment, it's been absolutely incredible. I'm seeing a lot of like talk around him, you know, being one of the most underrated coaches sort of like for this season. I wouldn't say coach of the year. A lot of people are saying coach of the year and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, Ricky and all that, so completely, you know, different case. But, you know, with the performance, you know, against the Broncos at home, as I said, like the Broncos had a lot to play for to get into a top 4. The Parramatta Eels don't have a ton to play for. They're probably, their finals hopes are pretty much nearly close to being done as well. And I thought the Broncos actually started fairly well in this game. Like I felt like what frustrates me about the Broncos is they know what works for them. And, you know, we've seen the games like the Roosters start the season. We've seen when they played against us, play direct, play simple, just go through your motions. And then when you get into good ball, then start playing your footy. But then they just get this through these moments of just going erratic and just feeling like they have to attack from every position of the field. And I feel like, you know, obviously the big talking point there is like Reece Walsh and the way he plays his football. A lot of talk around him being rocks and diamonds and that. But I want to tune it back to like more of a leadership play in someone like a Adam Reynolds, like, you know, being an older halfback or even having Benny Hunt. These are the main reasons why you have these older statesmen at the club to kind of go to Reece, hey, like, settle, I'll get us to where we need to go, and then you could do all the work from there. I don't feel like there's been a lot of that, and I feel like, you know, there's been moments where Adam Reynolds had a great season in this season, but there's been very poor moments this season for Adam Reynolds as well. So I'm a little bit worried in that sort of sense that he's not stepping up to the plate and telling Reece, hey, pipe down a little bit, I'll get us to the points of the field, and then I'll get you to the mark. Like, I feel like that's what your halfback should be doing, and I feel like the Broncos, not to put it all on Adam Reynolds, I think there's a leadership problem in some way there. But, you know, they know their system. They know what works for them. They just go away from it completely. And whether that's because Reece wants to win so much and he wants to do it himself, but he needs to trust, like, you know, Reno needs to step up and say, nah, I can do this, right? Just let me get you to the points.
I think their system is shot, to be honest with you. I feel like if they're not having Payne Haas offload or a line break after line break, guys don't want to do the hard work to get into good position. You're 100% right. And then, like, yes, Reece Walsh is the one making the errors, but he seems to be like the only one that tries out there at times where he's trying to make something happen, because you got Ezra Mann that is never at first receiver. He seems to never get the ball unless it's off a sweet play from Paddy Carrigan. And I don't know why that is, you know, and having guys on Supercoach, like I've got Ezra Mann on Supercoach since he carved my doggies up where he got into first receiver. Since that game, since Walsh has been back, I don't know if it's a Walsh problem or not, but he's just been pushed to the edge. He sits at the edge and waits the ball to come to him. He's not getting touches. He's not getting hands on ball, run first type of guy, which we've seen him carve up in the grand final, you know, a couple of years ago by doing that. We're not seeing that now. And I think that's affecting the way the Broncos are playing. They're all just kind of sitting back waiting for somebody else to do something. And you know that Reece Walsh goes after that. And he is going to have those rock moments instead of diamond moments. And it's all going to have him as the blame, because it seems to be like he's the only one trying to make something happen. I think you're kind of right. It's a bit of a leadership thing there that need to pull him in line. And I'm sure Adam Reynolds tries to. But if he's doing something that wrong, I guess Madge would drop him, right? I know he probably wouldn't drop Reece Walsh. It's not going to happen. But something's got to give, right? He's going to change the wingers this week, old Madge. You know, bringing Cobbo back, whose last performance was absolute mud. And he's just trying to get a reaction out of the guys, and it's not happening. So I think they all just sit back and wait for somebody else to do something. A bit like New South Wales. You've got all these superstars in there, and it just doesn't work.
I think that's where you hit the nail on the head. Like, we kind of discussed this a little bit at work today, and like, you know, how the Broncos, so when they go through their lineups of having, you know, maybe two gun players in their spine, they kind of all fall into shape. They have a lead, like they have a system, they play behind it. Everything kind of looks really good. As soon as they start adding more pieces to their lineup, that's when you start to see them go back towards like whether they have in their heads like, oh, we're good enough just to get it done no matter what. Like, we're just going to get it done because we got Benny Hunt at number 9, we got Adam Reynolds at 7, we got Ezra Mann at 6, and Reece also at fullback. It feels like there's well too many Chiefs and not too many Indians, right? Like, that's the whole like that sort of discussion. And we've kind of had this discussion about the Sharkies all season to where, you know, having Hines and Trindle, and it kind of showed in their performance over the weekend as well. You know, Trindle will start to overplay his hand a little bit too much and take it away from Hines's plate. You know, I think the Broncos have a very similar thing, but in a different way, to where, as you said, it feels like that maybe all those 3 other boys kind of just go, oh, maybe take a step back in the game. And Reece's like, what are you doing? Like, I need to do this. I need to like sort this shit out. And like, he gets frantic instead of like, you know, having a calming head. And you'd think that's what Adam Reynolds would bring. You'd think that's what Benny Hunt would bring, as a calming head to say, no, like, we're getting to our points and then we're going to play footy. And I just don't see that from the Broncos. And as you said, whether that's just too many superstars, too many Chiefs, and not that many Indians, because unfortunately that's just the way footy works. Like, you need to have good balance on the side. You can't just have a completely gun side. It doesn't work like that.
No, you're exactly right. But you know what Reece Walsh doesn't do well? He doesn't have the run first mentality, and neither does Adam Reynolds, and neither does Ezra Mann at the moment. You know, when the Broncos look really good, do you know who they're playing off the back of?
Yep. They're playing off the back of a run first Payne Haas.
Yeah, but do you know who that player is that starts that? Then they start to look pretty good. And I fucking hate to admit it. No, it's Billy Walters. When Billy Walters comes on and he plays eyes up, he plays off the back of Payne Haas and Paddy Carrigan's quick play the balls, and he gets them firing. They get some firing at the ruck and trying to earn the right to go wide. And that's when the Broncos start to look somewhat good. But Benny Hunt's running game out of hooker has not been there. And then Ezra Mann's run first mentality, first receiver is not there. You know, Adam Reynolds doesn't run first anymore. He's the controller. That's not his job. But the teams that run first mentality look dangerous. Matty Burton, run first. Cam Munster, run first. Ethan Strange, run first. You know, these type of teams look dangerous. Cam Munster in Queensland has made that his go-to is the run first mentality, who have 20 runs in a game. And it just starts to set off so well. It makes defenders honest in their role that they got to watch this guy first. They've got to defend the ball first. At the moment, you can just go, all right, where's Walsh going to cut it out to? All right, over there.
Yeah.
Slide.
Yep.
Pressure's on.
Pretty much, bro. Like, you've hit the nail on the head, honestly. And, you know, even add to that point, right? Like, you know, with the Warriors this season, like, when we've had some really, really great performances, when we had Luke Metcalf and Shanaris DeVita in the halves, and Metcalf was just, all right, when he found that balance of, like, I got to run the footy and just do it myself sometimes and just do a run first sort of thing. And that's when we played some of our best footy as well, which a lot of Warriors fans do forget in some moments as well. So you're 100% right. And with the Broncos, again, we go back to, the Broncos know what would work, and as you kind of touched on, is play directs, you know, play fast, play directs, play on the front foot, but then they get themselves into this going sideways, and they just always do, and that's the most frustrating thing when you watch the Broncos for sure.
And they're not changing angles. Like, how many carries do you see Jordan Ricky have a game?
Barely any.
Exactly, right? And then you see the doggies that are always dropping under kick out, always dropping under Preston. And then the Panthers, prime example, dropping under Liam Martin. Dropping under Sorensen, whoever it is. Melbourne, Ali Katoa, early ball. You know, Pierre Cora, obviously, he gets a bit of ball, but it's at the line, punching through the line. Then he gets KO'd. Like, they're just always trying to play out the Broncos. It's never changing angles, playing back the ruck. When you've got a forward pack like they've got, you've got to dominate that middle, and then the rest will take care of itself.
Completely agreed, bro. Completely agreed. And then moving over to the other big shocker win over the weekend, the Gold Coast Titans get it done over my New Zealand Warriors over in Auckland. Obviously, I was there live watching this game. First of all, I want to give you some of my thoughts, bro, and just touch in if you think that I'm on the right sort of track in any sort of way. So, like, it felt like in the game, watching the boys live, it felt like we started off well too hot. Like, it felt like we were getting it done easy. Like, that first, 5 to 10 minutes, we had all the ball. Lecker crashed over, Bompy crashed over. It was like, okay, we're in good form here. Like, the boys have bounced back. They've kind of, not say learnt from last week, but we fell back into the habit of last week of where we felt like the Titans got two on us, but it didn't look like the boys wanted to click back in the gear yet. They were kind of just going, no, it'll come to us. It'll come to us. Just let it happen. You know, we kicked to the corners. There was like, again, you know, I'm a big proponent of, like, you don't have to contest every kick in the world. And I hate when, you know, commentators say, why are they contesting? Why aren't they contesting? Like, I understand we're falling back into a system, but I felt like as soon as we started to feel the only time we ever felt like we're going to chase the game again was sort of that last Jojo Fafita try where it got up as a no try and the boys were like, all right, we saved that try, all good. And then next minute it got called a try and then the boys went, fuck, we're behind now. Like, we need to chase it. And then we started to go through our sets again. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck crashed over and it was like we're running home, but then we got really frantic and it just all fell apart and that sort of end. So do you think that was a similar thing? You know, the Titans played incredible footy as well. Shout out to the Gold Coast Titans, you know, completing at 90%. I think that obviously they played well for Desi Hasler, Kieran Foran, all that sort of stuff. But I really did feel like we came really complacent in that game in some moments and there were some key errors that we had, maybe due to some injuries. We maybe looked flat in some areas as well. But I also want to just give massive credit to the Gold Coast Titans too for the way they turned out.
Yeah, 100%. Like, look, massive milestone game. You know, Desi, Kieran Foran's last game, New Zealand. You know, and they just did bring the energy, bro. And that's how games are won, is how you deal with the momentum swings. And I think the Warriors have struggled with momentum swings a lot this year. A lot of time they start really well, and then when that momentum swings, sometimes they just can't grasp it.
Yep.
Just as that momentum started to swing, you guys lost Wade Egan, and then it was kind of oh shit, who's going to do it for us now? Instead of just, nah, we're all right, next man up. It was kind of like a little pause moment, and you guys tried to bring it home in the end, as you said, but it was just that little bit too far gone. And being out on a field, you know, there's times where you defend your line and a team's started to get a bit of momentum, and they're on your line. As soon as you get inside that 20, you're just like, fuck, I hope they don't score. I hope they don't score. And then you get tired to the point where you're like, fuck, if they score, we get a break at least. That mentality does start in your head. And if you can't stop them from scoring, you just fall into that. You go, oh, fuck, at least you get a break. So when they come down again, same thing. And unless they drop the ball, it's hard to get energy back. It's hard to defend that set out and get the ball back and then work your way out. You need the other team to somewhat make an error to give yourself like that bit of second wind to want to attack that next set. Because even when you defend a successful set, make that tackle 5, you get the ball, you're 10 meters out from your line. There's nothing more exhausting than having to then go and try and work your way out just to kick it down and then have them straight back at you. There's nothing more exhausting.
Yep.
Whereas sometimes me being out on the field, that mentality in my head was, oh, it wouldn't be too bad if they scored. You know, it wouldn't be too bad if they scored and then we just get to kick off and we get to restart. Yeah. And that's a shit mentality to have. Don't get me wrong. But when you're tired, that's what goes through your head is it mightn't be a bad thing to have a try here. All the boys get a break, then we get to reset. Whereas like, really, you should be saying, nah, I'm not letting them crack my fucking line. I want to D up. But then as I just said, you D up, you get the ball back, and then fuck, you look into your guys going, who's going to carry us out of this end now? Who wants to do the work to make it 60 meters downfield and swing momentum? It is such a hard thing to do. Whereas like sometimes a reset like them scoring and a kickoff is not a bad thing. Well, it's a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. But that
I know what you mean.
Goes through. When fatigue is a bitch, bro, when you're out there on the field, that is some of the thoughts that go through your head. Like, oh, fuck, if they just score, momentum will stop a little bit. You know, then we just need to stop them in their 50. They'll kick to us and we're back to an even playing field. Yeah. Oh, it's tough, man. It's a really hard thing to say out loud. But as a player, that's thoughts that have gone through my head before.
Yeah, 100%. And like, you know, even like I kind of thought back to it and gone like, you know, the Knights game, right? So we, you know, obviously we definitely nicked that one. Like it was one of those ones where I reckon if we dropped that one, not to say like this Titans game was going to be tough either way, but I think the boys would have learnt the lesson in that one in a way. Like, you know, obviously it was spoken about in the media after the game. You know, Webby said, no, the boys are going to learn the lesson even though we won. But I think having that hard loss, I think this one being the hard loss of the Gold Coast Titans in front of your home fans, I understand it was a big milestone game, but it did feel like that the boys after it looked like they were crushed from the moment and very embarrassed from it. Like just seeing the boys walking over, I saw, you know, obviously Fisher's out this week. I saw him out limping over. I saw Dal limping over as well. So I was also saying maybe I wouldn't be surprised if he's out this week as well. But it looked like they were very crushed by the moment. And like, you know, I think this would be good for us in the sense of like, it's a learning lesson. Like this has happened to us multiple times this season, but fortunately we've had like Luke Metcalf pull it out of the fire. We've had these guys step up in these moments, like Alasima step up. We can't continue to do that. Like we need to have these moments of like, all right, we need to, you know, stay on as much as we can, like stay on top of them and not allow the Titans to breathe. Because I felt like we allowed the Titans to breathe in that one. Jaden Jolla probably had his best performance I've probably seen him play, you know, football ever. You know, Jaden Campbell, absolutely incredible. Like, you know, Titans are a side that you can't give any sort of momentum, even though they're going not that great this year. You know, if you give the Titans any sort of swing of momentum, they've got all the players in the world to attack. They're like, 100%. I think the best way to sum up the Gold Coast Titans, I've heard it said this week was, you know, the Titans aren't a shit. They're a shit team. They're not a shit team. They're a good team playing shit. And they're just being a good team playing shit for a long period of time. And I feel like, you know, if you give them too much of the air to breathe, they're going to end up punishing you at the end of the day. And this is what the NRL does. So I'm sure that the boys will learn a lot from this. Obviously, it sucks for the injuries that we have, but it's a back against the wall mentality now. And it's like, you know, Fish is out, all that sort of stuff. We had the same issue when we played the Dolphins last year, where we had all these players out. Dallin Watini-Lesniak had to play fullback, and we came away with the victory there when the Dolphins were running hot. I think we can do it, very similar thing again, but it's going to take a lesson here. I think the lessons came from this game.
I think so too, brother. And you know, you always learn a lot from a loss, you know, and it was really good game planning from the Titans to identify the defensive system of the Warriors and catching Dallin out a couple of times, you know. And when you're on the front foot, that's such a easy thing to do, I guess, is to really capitalize on that, especially a team like the Titans. You're 100% right. They've got a lot of points in them if you give them enough chances. You know, we've seen it a couple of years ago when it was 66-6. Like, they can pinpoint your defense really well, and that's something they do. And they've got so much speed on the edges that they want you to jam. And they just took advantage of it. It's simple as that. You got a bad record against them. We have a bad record against the Broncos. Teams just sometimes just know how to beat that team, and sometimes teams don't know how to beat a team, and that's the case here.
Yeah, unfortunately, we used to have such a great record over the Gold Coast Titans, and for some reason, it's just swung completely the opposite way. And, shout out to Lockie, obviously a big one there. Lockie sending a voice question to Ash through our chat, can listen after later if they want a game. All right, we'll see how we go, bro. We'll see how we go. But shout out to the Gold Coast Titans. As I said before, great performances out there. Shout out to Mo Fodawaker, probably his best game over the weekend. Also, he could have brought a bed and just slept in the ruck all game and never got called for anything. So shout out to Mo Fodawaker there too.
Yeah, he learned that in Queensland, brother.
He must have, bro. All right, anything more you want to touch on before we jump into our team of the week?
Nah, that's all for me, brother. Just look, hopefully the boys can bounce back. It's going to be a big ask, but I don't think Webby would want it any other way, to be honest, is just seeing which boys want to stand up next. And it's just about navigating through these tough times, and trying to really hold on to that top spot until we get some recruits back.
Yep. Okay. Sweet. Actually, before we jump off, and this might make me sound like a salty Warriors fan in any sort of way, though, too. But this has happened a couple of times. The ball plant penalty. All that, so the inconsistency in the ball plant penalty. Sometimes it gets called, sometimes it doesn't. There's we saw the Beau Fermor one earlier on in the game that didn't get called. That got called against Tanner Boyd. And then later on, where, it's pretty much Jolliffe just crowding the ruck completely, even though there was a ball plant. Fuck, man. That rule can just... Honestly, what is a player meant to do in that position? But anyway,
it's the inconsistency in anything, brother. It's inconsistency in escort penalties. It's the inconsistency in ruck speed, forward passes. Like, if it's your day, it's your day, and teams know that now. And you really got to be on the ball to not let one bad call or two bad calls go against you. Exactly. It's on you to still work through that, because you know that you're going to get a couple of bad calls. But you're 100% right, brother. Inconsistency in any reffing, it can go either way. I mean, we don't want to remind you of the Dolphins Dallin knock on, two of us a knock on there, do we, brother?
Exactly right. So it goes all different ways, bro. And,
100%.
And not to say that it was going to go either way of that game. I don't think it would have changed anything too much, but it frustrates me. Just really frustrates me when you see that one out there. But anyway, moving over to our team of the week, my bro. Who have you got at fullback this week?
Yeah, no brainer, brother. Connor Tracy.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Shout out to Connor Tracy. As I said before, ran for over 300 meters, busted his gut in that game, like literally. Shout out to him. Incredible performance.
Yeah, look, bro, killer. And we're going to miss him a lot, but hopefully Karaz can just pick up that workhorse mentality this week.
Sweet. All right, moving over to the wingers of the week. Who have we got?
Yeah, speaking of Jacob Karaz, brother, he's one of my wingers this week, and my other one is Zach Lomax. Yeah,
shout out to Jacob Karaz. I've got him as well. Incredible performance out there. The other one, I want a big shout out to Philip Sammy and our personal group chat. Would be loving that one. But shout out to Philip Sammy. I think he's one of the most, honestly, he's actually a really underrated player in this competition, I believe, anyway.
We'll see what Lockie has to say about that one.
Yeah, shout out to Lockie if he's still in the chat. He probably won't bounce back off that because he's a hater. But anyway, continuing on. Centers of the week, bro. Who have we got?
Oh, and Matt Timmickle as one of my centers, brother. Absolute beast of a game. And then I also went with either Bronson Sherry or Stephen Crichton. Both of them were absolutely unreal. I think I'd have to go with Bronson Sherry, though. I
was going to say, do you want me to make the decision for you? Because I went Matt Timmickle and I went Bronson Sherry. I thought Bronson Sherry was incredible, bro.
I just think Stephen Crichton was really good in defense and, absolutely brained it goal kick wise, and a nice try assist there for Jacob Karaz a couple of times. His game kind of went underrated because of Bronson Sherry played so well on the weekend. But yeah, still a killer performance from him.
It reminds me of those weeks, bro, where we had the discussion of we had Jerome Hughes score a hat trick in a game, but then Isaiah Katoa as a halfback played probably a better halfback type of game. Like Stephen Crichton had a really, really good game, just like as a center, his defense, stuff like that. But Bronson Sherry, you can't take away what he did in that game, scoring. It was a 3-piece or 2-piece in that game, getting kicked in the nose, and pulling out the opposite, and incredible.
Yes, outstanding performance from both those guys.
And also, Matty Johns, a big call from Matty Johns. He reckons in the next couple of years, he'll probably be looked at as the best centre in the competition as well.
I can see it for sure.
He's close to a top 5 spot at the moment. He's close to roundabout. He's got to definitely be top 10 at the moment for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of good centers in the comp, so it's very hard.
Yeah. Moving over to the halves of the week, who have we got?
Oh, Matty Burton at 6. And then it's an absolute coin flip at halfback. I'm going to go Tommy Dearden.
Yep. Okay. I've got Matty Burton, so we agree there. And I went Jaden Campbell, just again, off of what he produced out there away from home at Mount Smart. Watching him live, he's just a freak of a footballer, that kid.
Yeah, for sure, brother. I want to throw it out to the chat. Who is your halfback of the week? Our 3, well, my 3 was Nathan Cleary, Tommy Dearden, and Jaden Campbell. But throw out in the chat who you guys had for your halfback of the week.
Yep, I'm right there with you, bro. Those are my 3 for the week as well, if you want to jump in there. And shout out to even players like Jamal Fogarty and all that having great games out there as well.
Oh,
but
100%.
yeah, that's definitely the 3 for me.
Moses, bro, underrated.
Mitch Moses.
But those 3 for the big ones for me. So, yeah, throw up in the chat who you guys had.
All right, give us your front row pairing, brother.
This week for me, brother, it was Lindsay Smith and Josh King.
Ooh, all right. Sweet. I like it. I went Lindsay Smith and Jamin Jolliffe. Again, just want to shout out Jamin Jolliffe there.
Yeah, well, you're loving him this week, aren't you?
I'm hating him this week, mate. He's put me through a lot of pain, but I got to credit where credit is due, yeah?
Yeah, oh, you look Robert M with the Reynolds halfback try. Yeah, fair enough.
Love it, bro. Love it. Moving over to the who's the hooker of the week?
Harry Grant, brother. No brainer.
No brainer. Him and Blake Bradley are definitely fighting out for hooker of the year this year, right? I think like over a longer span of this year, Blake Bradley's had an incredible year, but Harry Grant just keeps popping his head up as he usually does.
Yeah, for sure. I think, Harry Grant's going to have a big back end of the season now without Hughes, but hopefully Brayley can hold on there and steal that hooker of the week. And I'm loving the Jet Cleary shouts.
Bro, shout out to Jet. Absolutely killed it in New South Wales Cup side. Just absolutely braining it. Moving over to our edge back rollers of the week, bro. Who have we got?
I went with Hudson Young.
Yep.
As one of my back rollers. And I actually went with Leka Halasima again this week.
Shout out to Leka, bro. Honestly, like watching him live, bro. Oh my God. It's
just damaging, bro. Just every time he touches the ball, 2-3 guys in the tackle, post-contact meters through the roof. I just had to shout him out. I thought he was really dominant in a loss.
Yeah, how balanced is he as a runner too? Like, those moments, like, those, like, he's so low center of gravity where he can like hand plant on the ground, still keep moving and get back up and going. Like, he was, what a freak. But I had Viliami Kikau. I thought he was a big standout in that game for the Dogs as well. Like, when Kikau's going really well on that edge, Birdo's going well, like the Dogs are going to be fucking tough to stop on that edge. And I went Hudson Young as well. I think he's definitely locked in edge back row of the year for sure.
Oh, 100%, brother. Yeah, he's starting to pull away from Eli Katoa, who's had good moments, but he's starting to pull away for sure.
Yep, 100%. And how close are you putting in Hudson Young? You had Hudson Young in your Australian squad at the end of the year, right? I'm pretty sure from memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely locked that in for you now too.
Yeah, I think I went with Liam Martin and Presto or Hudson Young.
Yeah. So you probably locked in Vardo now? I know Presto's been really good as well, but...
Yeah, I'd have both of them in the camp for sure, and both of them in the team. So whether it's Hutto on the bench or Presto on the bench.
100%. And lastly, our 13th of the week. It's been a bit of a switch up this week.
Yeah, well, it's back to the old last year one of Isaiah Yeo.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, it's not Aaron Clark, but it's Isaiah Yeo again.
Yeah, Isaiah Yeo, bro, is a beast. But a couple of shout outs for guys that didn't make it in my team, but should have potentially been there. Is Daniel Tupou, such an underrated winger for all time. Top 5 now, try scorer of all time.
Yeah.
So underrated.
It's crazy that doesn't get discussed as much as what it should do. It goes completely under radar because we got like Alex Johnson chasing the top prize, but like for a guy to get top 5, Daniel Tupou, and you ask anyone their top 10, 20 wingers of all time, I bet you anything they forget Daniel Tupou.
100%. I would probably be guilty for that, brother. But when you really look back at what he's achieved, you can't really leave him out of the top 10. I also had Scotty Drinkwater, Jojo Fafita, and Philip Sami as well as an honourable mention there.
Yeah, and I didn't have Tom Dearden, but I thought Tom Dearden was an absolute killer. And it was a struggle. I just kind of had a little bit of one eye on the I felt like Jaden Campbell needed a little bit of There you go, brother. You did really well in that game. That intercept absolutely killed me. That was what a play. Like, you know, Tamani Martin was going to do that same shift back on the back towards the ruck, and he put through a hand out and the ball just behind the ground. Like, he's just got that natural footballer about him, eh?
100%, brother. There's a question in the chat for myself from Robert M.
Yep. What you got, bro?
What team am I picking Kobe Harrington for?
Where would you put Kobe Hetherington in your team on the bench? So if you had Kobe Hetherington, where would you put Kobe Hetherington, I guess, maybe? I'm so sorry, Robert, my bro, but let us know.
I don't want him.
Yeah.
Can I just say cut? Like, are you talking about for the Broncos? Like, would you start him or have him on the bench in the Broncos?
Maybe, yeah.
I would have him on the bench in the Broncos. I don't see him starting. I like Paddy Carrigan at lock. And I loved Jensen and Haas up front starting, and then having Harrington come off the bench to just do the donkey work, and then have Xavier Willison come on to continue that X Factor type role off the bench. But that's what I would run with if you're talking about okay.
For the Broncos. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm completely in agreement here with Brody. I think that's probably the best way the Broncos could look, have that 3-prong attack sort of thing of like Payne Haas, Paddy Carrigan, and a Jensen or Willison, whoever they start with, and then Kobe Hetherington fills in that position. Yeah, I think they're starting Willison this week too from last time I saw.
They did last week as well, but the 2 weeks before that, they started Jensen and it was going well. So it
was going really well.
I don't know what Madge is trying to do.
Yeah, neither. So very interesting watch for the Broncos in the weeks coming as well. We'll get to our weekend preview very, very shortly. Moving over to hit of the week, bro. Who have you got?
Not so much a hit of the week, but a try saver, and mine was Lehigh on Connor Tracy.
Yes, I love it. That was such a big moment. Mine, again, as you kind of touched on, wasn't really a hit of the week, but it's just a moment. And it was Lockie Hubner, whatever way you pronounce it. Hubner doing the massive chase down late in that game. Obviously they don't have much to play for, and to cause an error out of Will Kennedy, I'm pretty sure he chased down. It was one of those big moments that big shout. And I think he got awarded extended his contract too. So that was a massive play for him. Yeah, what a beast.
Yeah, it's just the effort areas, brother. That's all it comes down to, eh?
100%, bro, and that's what got him onto my hit of the week. Moving over to a little bit more something fancy. Who's your try of the week?
Sean Russell, bro. The split second it took for him to catch that ball and then pull a chip and chase out like that.
Crazy.
Shout out to him, man. Like the balls and the execution of that was outstanding.
He's a sort of an underrated sort of player, Sean Russell, eh? Like every time I see him in moments, like he can have some real big, great games out there. I'm like, oh, Sean Russell, all right, you got a bit about you.
He's a bit like a Seb Chris and a James Schiller.
Yeah, very similar. James Schiller's probably one of the great shouts there for that, because like James Schiller, I've seen him have these world beater games where he busts 10 or so tackles and it's just like world beater, and then sometimes he can go missing in times too. So Sean Russell's in that same boat.
100%, and I think Seb Chris is as well.
Yeah, for sure. Player of the week?
Harry Grant, bro.
Yeah, I went Harry Grant as well. That moment, that game, what an incredible game there too.
Just to take it by the scruff of the neck and say, nah, we're not losing this, especially after last week where he probably was the fault of losing. He didn't want to face another Bellamy spray, so he made sure that they got that dub.
Yeah, exactly right. Egg of the week, bro. And guys, I want to preface this. I don't have currently an egg of the week because I didn't get to watch too much footy over the weekend as much as I could. But Brody, who's your egg of the week?
My egg of the week was Bronson Sherry, brother. Paying to get his nose fixed before coming back for the doggies, and then unfortunately copping a break, and all the boys were into him. Critter, Birdo, they were all into him with the big nose celebrations after the
that's crazy
after the try. So yeah, shout out to Bronson Sherry, bro. Straight back to Turkey to get a nose job at the end of the year.
They were very close to my try celebrations of the week as well. Just seeing those boys just go absolutely mental and stuff and that. But yeah, what a crazy moment. And shout out to Bronson Sherry, as you said, maybe another plastic surgery job. It actually didn't look too bad after the game too. So shout out to him.
He's all right. That back out. But yeah, man, fuck that. I don't know how he passed to HIA, to be honest, from Big Kickow's size 16 boot.
I would say this though, his side profile looks so weird now from what we used to know of Bronson Sherry, right? Like it looks so weird. It legit looks like he's missing half his nose. Like it is that.
He is. They took about 3/4 of it.
It's crazy, man. I feel like anyone that's got a snoz like that should just stick with the snoz like that. Just go with it, bro. Just go with it.
No, I don't know. I think you did a good job.
All right, and moving over to try celebration of the week, bro. Did you have your doggies boys in that one?
Nah, what was yours, brother?
I went with Billy Walters with the Hulk Hogan.
So did I, brother. He was mine as well. Shout out there. You know, and Adokar was holding him down, and Walters was frustrated because he wanted to get up and celebrate that try. And what a good moment for him, you know, touching on old Hulk Hogan that passed away.
100%. Shout out to Hulk Hogan, rest in peace, and to his family, much love, and hope they're all doing well out there. But yeah, what a try celebration. What a play from Billy Walters and Reece Welsh in that moment. Not good enough to get it done, but you know, shout out to those guys there too. And I think there's only one more game of Try July, ends up being Thursday, and I'm pretty sure they're pretty much nearly close to wrapping it all up. So Parramatta and the Melbourne Storm.
I think they already have wrapped it up.
Have they wrapped it up? They're not going on more?
I don't think they are, because I've seen them say the total already. So I don't know if they're counting this game coming. I don't think they are. I could be wrong. But it's getting disappointing now anyway. A lot of guys aren't celebrating tries. You know, it's not hard to come up with something, boys, and it's for a good cause. And I feel like a lot of tries went without try celebrations, and be better. You know, we love it. We love that stuff. We love to see that stuff and pull out a good old try celebration. I think the girls did a lot better job than the guys this year.
I was just about to touch on that just quickly before we jump over to our preview of the week. Shout out to the girls as well with their try celebrations. They go absolutely incredible. But quickly running through some of the results over the weekend, the Gold Coast Titans getting it done over my New Zealand Warriors. I was out there to watch that game. The Gold Coast girls definitely turned up. The Warriors girls, they still have a little bit more that they're learning in the game. They're still like, you know, a lot of the girls are still learning systems, stuff like that. A couple of debutantes out there that actually played some really good footy. But shout out to the Gold Coast girls getting it done. The Roosters just continue to be the dominant side that they are in this competition. You picked them to take out the premiership. It is looking very close to that way. You're beating your doggies out there. The Cowboys getting just absolutely dominating the Canberra Raiders. The Raiders are looking in a real tough slump in the NRLW at the moment. They probably need a couple of changes going on there. Newcastle continue to be dominant as well, 30-6 over Parramatta. Quickly, the Broncos 30-6 over the Dragons. That's a massive win for the Broncos, as the Dragons have been finding some really red hot form.
Well,
and
they
lastly,
did show up to play as well. I watched a bit of that game, and the Dragons girls did start off really well and turn the Broncos away multiple times. But in the end, the scoreline caught up.
Right, those Broncos girls and those Roosters girls are going to be real tough to beat towards the end of the season. I think Newcastle look like a side that maybe can test it with them, but we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. And lastly, the Cronulla Sharks getting it done over the West Tigers, and that was a real back and forth game, I thought, in that one. So shout out to the West Tigers. Not been greatest of form this year in the NRLW, but giving it a red hot crack and seeing how they sit. And so quickly, guys, this is how the ladder is sitting for the NRLW. As we said before, the Roosters and the Broncos just creaming the competition. Obviously, they played each other. That's the only loss the Broncos have had is with the Roosters. So looking like your prediction, bro, is going to go the way that you're praying for. And I'm pretty sure Taron Aiken is back this week for the Roosters. That's mental.
Jesus Christ, stop it. And shout out to Scott Wood in the chat, mate. This is now a doggies channel, all right? We've got more doggies fans. Then we have Warriors fans here. And
here we go.
The takeover starts now, brother. The takeover starts now. So shout out to Scott Wood in the chat, brother. Absolute legend.
We're actually going over, me and Brodie going over next Friday. Next weekend, we're going to Sydney to go watch the Warriors versus the Doggies. So, guys, I'll probably try and do one of my little vlogs or whatever for that, like I did this weekend for New Zealand. I'll wait and see how I go. Sometimes I get shy doing that sort of stuff, so we'll see how we go, yeah?
We'll do it, brother. I'm sure Caitlin will take a lot of content for us.
I love it, bro. Moving over to our weekend preview. Guys, my computer's being a little bit funny at the moment, so I'm not too sure what's going on, but we'll try and get through as we will. So first game of the weekend, we got the Parramatta Eels versus the Melbourne Storm at CommBank. You know what we're saying with the Try July stuff? You know, like, they should just go for it. Try July, like they should just do it in this one and make Sportsbet just go, you know what? It's the last day of July. Just spend big money onto it. Like, make
100%.
It happen.
100%.
Make it happen.
We all love tries. We love try celebrations, and obviously we love to take care of a good system like the charity that they're doing this for.
And talking about tries, it's going to be a really good match out here, I believe, anyway. The Parramatta Eels out at 3.64. The Melbourne Storm in a very short favourite at $1.24 without Jerome Hughes. Brother, are you seeing it that way? And no Trent Liero as well. But Ryan Papenhuyzen comes back in. Are you seeing it the same way that what the betting margins are saying?
100%, brother. You know, I'm really excited to see the matchup of Coates and Lomax again. But yeah, Melbourne for me, we'll take this one out.
Yeah, I'm going to go Melbourne's way as well. And again,
Jose.
That is a wild one, my brother. Moving on to my game of the weekend, my bro. The New Zealand Warriors versing the Dolphins at Go Media Stadium. Hopefully, it can bounce back from the performance of last week, the embarrassment that was. But the Dolphins, as you said, coming off a bye, they should be refreshed. They'll probably get over to New Zealand fairly early. They'll be settled in to try and get a big win over Go Media. How are you seeing this one going?
Yeah, Cody Nikorima back for you for Dolphins as well.
Yep.
You know, James Fisher-Harris, Egan, and Chanel out for you guys.
Yep.
Gonna be a tough one. I really think this one will be a tough one for your boys. I'm gonna give you the nod in a 1-12 contest.
Ooh.
I really think you're gonna have to defend your asses off to win this one. But I think if the Dolphins get over 20, they're gonna win the game.
You know what? I predicted 24-20 on Wales Up TV. I feel like it's going to be one of those games. I really do. But I agree with you. I think that we'll probably have to defend our hearts out in this one. I think it's going to be real rocky. I think it's going to be up and down in moments as well. But what I'm happy with, what everyone should be watching out for, Sam Healy coming to that 9 jersey. Ton of energy, youthful energy. Dimitri Vaimonga stepping into Fisher's role there. We all know he's having a great season there too. He's not Fisher-Harris, but these young kids stepping up, we've seen it happen last year where they can shock some sides and bring just this real good youthful energy. I think the Warriors have the ability to do that as well. So I'm going a very close 1-12 victory, but it's going to be a very tough one. And I look at the betting margin. I think they got 100% right. I think the Dolphins should be favorite for this matchup.
Definitely, brother. I think if you guys win this game, it's going to need to be like a 14-12. You can't let the Dolphins score more than 3 tries. Otherwise, they're just going to get hot, brother. And I think they're going to run away with it. So if you guys can defend really well and control Jeremy Marshall-King around the ruck, I reckon you can get a 1-12 job done and be a 14-12 scoreline or something like that. Shout
out to Samade Martin as well. I'm expecting a big performance out of him as well. So very, very excited for that matchup. Moving over to the Brisbane Broncos versus the South Sydney Rabbitohs at Suncorp Stadium, my bro. Obviously, the Broncos going down to the Parramatta Eels last week. The Rabbitohs, solid performance against the Sharkies. Do you think they can back it up against the Broncos at home at Brizzy?
No, I don't think they can. Jack Whiten named. He's suspended though, yeah?
He's suspended, yeah. Gotcha. He ended up copping.
Look, I didn't see the Broncos losing last week, but I'm going to say it again this week. I don't see them losing. I know Wayne Bennett against his old club back in Brizzy. I can't go past the Broncos in this one. The Rabbits just have too many out for my liking.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, bro. How far away is Alex Johnson from that mark soon?
I think he's
5?
4 or 5 tries. 4 to even and 5 to take it.
Hopefully he can get one over this weekend to try and get that closer and closer, yeah?
Hopefully, brother. But it's harder for him at fullback.
It is. Well, he's not fullback this week. Jai Gray's back, So it might be on, bro. Who knows? Might be on. 4-piece.
He's against Cobbo, so why not?
Who knows, bro? Who knows? But we're going to go Broncos. You got 1-12?
I got to go 13+, brother. They're going to have a rocket up them. The season's slipping away. Big loss last week. Got to turn it around. You
convinced me. I'm riding in with that with you as well. The Gold Coast Titans hosting the Penrith Panthers at Cbus Super Stadium. Can the Gold Coast Titans replicate what they did to us at Go Media against probably the informed team of the competition other than the Raiders and the Dogs?
Nah. Panthers 13+.
I just want to see this too. Oh, nah, don't worry. I was so sure that they had actually a decent record against the Panthers of late, but no, that is definitely not correct.
That's against the Warriors, brother.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's so sad. But yeah, I've got Penrith probably. Do you see this being 13+?
100%. Double to Jenkins and double to Toto.
You know what? Screw it. I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to go 1-12. I reckon the Gold Coast will back it up.
Dreaming.
All right. I'm riding with the Gold Coast Titans. Lockie, you see me in the chat, I'm riding for you guys. You've broken my heart.
He's going to comment Dolphins 13+.
If they pull out a 66 win, 66-6 win against the Panthers, oh my God.
Not happening.
Not happening. Anyway, moving over to the Dragons versus the Canberra Raiders at Wynn Stadium. The Dragons try to come from behind there against the Cowboys, almost doing so in some moments as well. The Raiders just in some fine form. Raiders by how much, you reckon?
Oh, 1-12 in this one, I reckon, brother.
Yeah? You feeling it?
Yeah, the Dragons, they're a big squad. Canberra's a big squad. I think there'll be a lot of defense in this game. And I think Flano will have them up for the physicality battle, and I think the Canberra will get away with this one just in a 1-12.
Just quickly, guys, I see Jacob Halangahu sitting there on the reserves. Michael Mollo playing in edge back row at the moment. He could be a stock gap. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But if Jacob Halangahu plays, keep an eye out for him. I've showed Brody a couple of highlights of him. Kid's an absolute freak coming through junior grades. Looks very similar to like a smaller type of Dave Fafita type player. So keep an eye out for him. I don't want to put too much raps on him either, but there is a lot of raps on this kid. So keep an eye out there. But Raiders... I'm going Raiders 13 plus here.
If it was in Canberra, I'd go 13 plus.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I can see that. Moving over to the Manly Seagulls versus the Sydney Roosters. This is a nice one a little bit. Like I feel like it's going to be a close game. Yeah. The Roosters sitting at $2.10. If you enjoy that odds, may as well jump on. The Seagulls running out with no Olakwatu that redid his shoulder over the weekend. The Roosters, no Sandon Smith coming into this game this weekend. But Rick Doradley and all that back in. Hugo Savala back in there. Roosters or Manly? Manly at home.
I'm going to go Roosters to win this one. I think they're going to relish the physicality battle in the middle. And, you know, did you say Radley's back?
It did say he's back. He's in reserves by the looks of it. So he'll probably find his way back in.
I think he'll play this game and it's going to be physical as. And I think Roosters going to come over the top here. I'm going to go the Roosters 1-12.
I'm right there with you, bro. I think it's going to be a little bit of boil over. I think if they turn up with the same physicality, well, Manly sort up with a good physicality last week, but if the Roosters came up with the same sort of physicality they try to show with the Melbourne Storm, I think they can do it. I think they can do it.
They're going to relish it, I reckon, brother, and Radley will be at the forefront of it.
Yep. So we're going to go Roosters 1-12 in that one?
Yep.
All right, moving over to the West Tigers versus your doggies there, brother, at CommBank Stadium. No Connor Tracy, obviously. Does that hamper you a little bit? Do you see this as being a 13-plus victory?
I think it can be a 13-plus late. I think, you know, we're just going to chip away. First half will be nice and close. Second half, hopefully run away with it.
Yep. So both of us going doggies 13-plus?
Yeah, brother, for sure.
Shout out to Dev Era. Thank you so much for jumping in, my brother.
Appreciate it, brother. Thanks.
Great to see all these guys jumping into the chat at the moment. Scotty Wood absolutely burning up the chat before as well. Shout out to Scotty.
Scotty Wood's the man. There he is right there. Look at that.
He's became Brody's new favorite chatter. Look at this guy.
Come through every week, brother. We'll be here same time next week previewing another win pending against the Warriors. All right.
Dev Era is obviously a doggies man as well. So shout out to Dev Era. My thumbnail is actually Matty Burton too. So I'm guessing this is the reason why we got this traffic coming through.
I love it. Do it every week.
We're not doing it every week, mate. This is a Warriors channel. No.
Well, next week we're going to have a face-off, right? Boxing gloves. Let's go.
We'll see how we go, yeah?
Doggies versus Warriors. We'll put it up for the thumbnail.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'll put in, well, whoever I cannot put in, everyone's injured, but we'll have to wait and see. Tanner Boyd.
Shout out to Tanner.
Last game of the weekend here. We got the Cronulla Sharks versus the North Queensland Cowboys at Shark Park. The Cowboys at a $3 odds. Outsider. Would you taste a little bit on the roughy there?
Oh, look, you could always back against the Sharks, especially a team like the Cowboys that really can lay on a lot of points thick.
Yeah.
I actually think the Sharks have been flying a little bit too high, and I reckon the Cowboys are going to knock them off.
Yeah, you reckon?
Yeah. I'm going to go the Cowboys 1-12.
I'm going to go to Sharks 1-12. I reckon it's going to be one of those messy sort of games, though, too. Like, I feel like there's going to be points, but you know what I mean? I don't think anyone's going to come out from it going, oh, my God, these guys are amazing.
Oh, definitely not. It's going to be a fucking no defense in this game whatsoever.
I just don't think the Sharkies have found their balance, and I don't think they probably will for this final series. So I can see your sides happening. And again, guys, $3 there for the Cowboys. Like the Cowboys on their best day sometimes can pull out some of these ones. So
I'm taking that $3.
That's not bad, bro. That's not bad. Pair that up with the Roosters.
Yeah, that's $6 odds. Take that shit.
Ooh, take that. But make sure you gamble responsibly quickly, guys, while we're talking betting on the channel. Well, we may as well jump over to our Supercoach portion of the show, guys. Obviously, this is a live show, guys. Jump into the chat if you got any questions for Supercoach, how your teams are going and all that sort of stuff. But not too much really to touch on. We only got probably a good 20 to 30 minutes left in the show, guys. So make sure you jump into the chat and give us your questions. But moving over to the weekend that was. So, sorry guys, I freaking should have came more prepared here. But my side here, 1,339 points over the weekend. Brody is sitting, where are you, my bro? In ninth there. You got a nice 1,277 points over the weekend, my bro. Talk about your side. Who was your big hitter? Who was your big miss for the weekend that was?
Oh, we got all the same big hitters there, brother, for sure. But my misses, Eli Katoa, bro, Ezra Mann, Karapani. Against the Eels, especially Ezra and Karapani, I was really hoping for more out of those guys. I was hoping for a lot more out of Aaron Clark as well against his former squad, but it is what it is. No surprise Garrett got shit. He played against a great team, so
yeah, fuck. It's just one of those ones, mate.
But Dane Guy, bro, awesome trade in. I was really happy with that trade in. Another, great performance from him, 92. So,
yeah, he definitely seemed to be a great little pod play that you have going on there, bro. So, for me, obviously, I nailed on the captain with Nathan Cleary. So I was very, very happy with that. I was a little bit worried. I had Vice on Zach Lomax. I saw his 100, and I was like, do I go it? Then I was like, do his updates go higher or lower? End up going 1 point lower. So it wouldn't have been too much of a difference, but I trusted Nathan Cleary to get that one done against the West Tigers, and he did so. So I was very happy with that.
Yeah, you're welcome for the Jaden Campbell shout, brother.
That as well. Shout out to Brody getting me on the Jaden Campbell shout there. We were touching on, I was going to go Taylor May. I was going to go a little bit of a roughie there, a little pod play, which he ended up getting like a 50 or a 40. We kind of discussed before, which isn't too bad, but a total different to 100 and 130, 117. So,
you're welcome.
Thank you, mate. See, this guy. Hey, moving over to the to the league. Shout out to Liam. I think he's going to be the outright winner. Me and Brody are trying to chase hard, but this guy is absolutely killing it at the moment. So shout out to Liam, looking like you're going to be winning our league of the year, and it'd probably go pretty close to up like top 1,000 in Supercoach as well, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was up the top there somewhere, but it's going to be almost impossible to run that dude down unless we had 6 trades and we went pods and got lucky, but we don't have that, and we can't do that.
No, we cannot. And moving over, we may as well touch on our trades for the weekend, bro. So my trade here, I've got Payne Haas and Nico Hines coming in for Golomatungi and Jerome Hughes. Obviously, both these guys forced out due to injury. I did want to get Payne and Nico Hines back in, and it kind of just opened up my hand there to do that, which leaves me with 2 trades left for the rest of the year.
Yeah, you can't complain with those 2 trades, brother. Nice little bit of cash sitting there, and you can kind of ride home with the team you've got. You've got plenty of guys ready to reserve. It's only if any big injuries come about that you would want to be trading anybody out at this stage.
Exactly. And we're at that point of the season, guys, where teams seem to be just completely stacked. So the amount of reserves, like we're going to be missing out on some points here, and we probably do understand that. But, it's a lot better than, obviously having a side that doesn't have a lot of these guys so you can reserve and having injuries left, right, and center. So since we're saying that, my fullback position, James Tedesco, Dylan Edwards, and Reece Walsh. Moving into the center wings, Herbie Farmer, Zach Lomax, Ruben Garrick, and Jacob Carraz. Not reserving any of the boys that are on the bench, but we'll be reserving Jaden Campbell. I just had a mad mind blank there. And Cam Munster. And then also Nico Hines and Nathan Cleary in the halves. Not too many changes here. I am going Nathan Cleary as a captain this week. My vice captain, I'm going to go a Payne Haas at the moment.
I like it, brother. Have you potentially thought about maybe not reserving Campbell this week, or you think he'll still go big against the Panthers? Or more chance to go big than a Ads or a Nanai?
I have a feeling he's probably got more chance to go bigger than a Ads or a Nanai. Again, like, you're probably right. Defensively, the Penrith Panthers are probably going to choke him out of the contest as well. But I feel like dry track there at Seabus, there's probably some moments there that I feel like it is more positive than what Adam's been giving to me the last couple of weeks. And even Nanai and stuff like that. Nanai's getting me a 50. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'll risk it for a guy that has the ceiling of those hundreds and stuff there.
Yeah, I agree.
And then moving over, obviously finishing off, Harry Grant, Joseph Tarpanay there in the reserves in my front row, Terrell May there in the front row too. Brother, predicted score of 1,400. We don't usually go off those, but not too bad.
Massive. I love that, bro. Your captain set, you reckon, or you reckon there'll be some late changes?
There could be some late changes. I floated with Nico Hines as captain a little bit earlier, you know, as we said before the show. You know, we could... There's many different ways you could look at. Like Herbie Farnworth could be a very juicy one as well with the Warriors' edge defense at the moment. Like Kurt Capewell hasn't helped out Dal in any sort of way on that edge. I thought some of the reads over the weekend... I feel like sometimes with Capes, some of the reads, he was making the right reads, but just the execution of those reads were completely off. Like he was well off the pace there. So, and Herbie will probably keep in the back of the mind the last time Kurt Capewell defended him in center, and he was like, I want to take it to you this weekend. So Herbie could be a great shout there too.
What about Walshy, brother?
Walshy is there too. Obviously against the Rabbitohs, there's a lot of great moments for him there. Even Jacob Carraz. I think the last time Jacob Carraz played fullback, he only got a 50, but still, think of more of the work rate, stuff like that. He's probably got the ability to go higher as well.
I think so, for sure.
And Zach Lomax. Who's the Parramatta Eels got again?
They have... Shit, I don't know.
Melbourne Storm. Yeah, wouldn't go that way.
Nah, probably not against Coatsy. A lot of the air threat's going to be gone. Yeah, Walshy's good option. Anyone from the Panthers, good option. Teddy is got to have a bounce back game sooner rather than later, right?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, Nico, if he couldn't get it done against the Rabbits in a big way, I don't think he's going to do it against the Cowboys.
What worries about Nick?
Taylor May, sorry, not Taylor. Terrell May's going to have to do a lot of work in the middle against our doggies. So, but he might almost get work to a standstill as well. So he might actually have to have a break in this one.
Yeah, I definitely think those are probably going to have to be the plays. I'm very curious to see, like with Nico, what worries me about Nico and the reason why his points usually get taken is those moments where Braden Trindle probably oversteps. You know, he oversteps his lane a little bit. Like there was some moments over the weekend where it legit looked like that. You know, Nico had things set and ready to go. He was about to get a ball, and like Trindle kind of overcalled him and just jumped in front of him and took the ball away from him. It was like, man, I need Trindle just to chill, brother. Just chill, bro. Let me get some points there. Yeah.
Well, that nearly costed them on the weekend, so I dare say that'll be a big talking point. And you know, Shark is back at Shark Park. You know that Nico does really well there.
Yeah, 100%, bro, 100%. All right, quickly moving over to your side now, bro. So you're sitting here with Brian Toto coming in for Karapani. Obviously, reading into Karapani getting dropped this week. It probably looks like maybe a long term with SELWYN, COBBO, and Dean Mariner back in there. I think Jesse Arthur's got dropped as well.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, so very weird play there from Madge. But anyway, you got 2 trades as well towards the end of the year. We'll quickly touch on that. 2 trades, enough for the end of the season, do you believe?
It is enough, yeah. Like if you're just seeing in your team, you're just going to see in my team, got guys there that are going to be playing the rest of the season that are unreserved. So I've got plenty of cover and, 2 trades in case anybody of big value goes down and I need to replace them. But other than that, if it's just like a stock standard injury, I've got another guy there that can cover.
And Brian Toto, any worries on him trading in? I know we had discussed this a little bit at work, but give us your thought process on Brian Toto.
Nah, not worried at all. Like Toto at 5.15 is an outstanding price for a caliber player like Brian Toto. I just hope he can shake the knee injury. But I dare say, he hasn't scored a lot of tries this year, and I think he'll have a pretty good back end if that knee's all good. And I'm just going to take the risk. I really am. I won't probably play him week to week as well, depending on the games he's got coming up. But in this one, I'm pretty confident he'll go over for a couple of times.
I love it, bro. I love it. And look at your side on the outside here. Dylan Edwards there as your vice. Is your captaincy set? Is this what you're going for the weekend?
My vice is definitely set. I think Dylan Edwards will be my vice. Good chance of him going high. I'm going to really think about my captaincy option. I don't know if Carraz is even going to play fullback yet. I don't know if there's maybe a late change with Mitch Woods coming into the 18th man. I think there might be a chance of a late move to him to play half. And maybe a Birdo to center and Critter to fullback or a Birdo to fullback. But I'm just holding off there. But if he doesn't, if I'm not confident on that, a Terrell May maybe is a captain option. Nathan Cleary's pretty bang on. So we'll see.
And took it into your reserves as well. So you've got Tommy Trbojevic, Brian Toto, Nico Hines, Britton Nikita as your reserves there. All great plays from all the players that I see here. Obviously, Ezra is not hit for you at the moment, so I wouldn't go his way. even though somewhat could look like a juicy matchup. But again, as we said before, maybe too many Chiefs in, there are too many chefs in the kitchen, hampering his score there.
If the Roosters are smart, Marky Mark should be a big one this week because Jacob Kiraz got 137 on that right wing against Manly. Marky Mark's now up against Manly's right edge, but we will see. I don't think they'll execute that very well, the Roosters.
Again, it goes back to, like, I think Sammy Walker, for me, as soon as I started seeing him back and he just continues to float left and he loves to play through Angus Crichton and that left edge, unfortunately, just knowing Anita is just catching it cold on that edge.
Yeah, I think so too, brother. Like, I don't know how he got 47 on the weekend. That must have just been all based, but yeah, he's not seeing any try scoring opportunities at all.
All right, moving over to some people in the chat here. Jose, I traded out Fogarty for Dearden. Dearden was a player I looked at because Brody was like, do you think Dearden? And I did have a look at him, but your thoughts there?
Yeah, look, Dearden's got a lot of points in him. So does the Cowboys, and that's the way that they're going to try and make the finals is just score a lot of points. It's balls to the wall, attack. And, Tommy Dearden's always good for a try there or support play or a line break. He's very good chances always going for 100.
Yep, 100%. And Scotty Wilson might play fullback, he reckons.
Oh, I don't think Wilson will play fullback.
Yeah.
I don't. I could be wrong. But I don't think he would.
And Scotty, he wasn't talking about Woods going at fullback. He thinks that Woods will go play in the halves and then that will move things around to Matty Burton maybe playing centre and throwing back, who'd you have at fullback? Critter. Yeah,
or
there might be an
opportunity to go to
there.
fullback because there was rumours of that as well.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. It's either that or just could go, as you said, could go to conservative and just go Kiraz at fullback.
Kiraz will do the job. I'm not worried there at all. I'm also just worried about my super coach, mainly. Hudson Young actually might be my captaincy option.
Yeah, that's a great shout for sure. He's just consistently getting numbers, bro. He's got to be right up there for. We'll go quickly jump over to the top scorers of the season. So we got Terrell May at the top of the competition there with total points. Where is Hudson Young in top 10, bro? He's what a year.
You're doing something right when you have 8 of the top 10 players for scoring. Yeah. And then if you go to average, bro, like hit average. I think I've got. I did have Pappy, but I've got again 8 of the top 10.
It just continues to go down. I looked at that today with my end. It was pretty fun to watch. I was like, yeah, at least we know we're doing something right here.
Exactly. You got to have those guys, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we did have, Brian Papenhausen at one point. We had Scotty Drinkwater at one point this season. I had Valentine Holmes. We had Dylan Lucas. Fletcher Sharp we missed on, but it's crazy some of these scores that we have here.
Definitely, bro. It's been a good year.
It's been a great year, bro. Anything more you want to touch on with your side before we jet off?
Nah, just praying for a good captaincy option, really, and hopefully my guys fire.
Yeah, I know. Guys, you got anything more in the chat? Let us know quickly before we jump off. What else have we got here? Scotty Wood, possibly, with the shout that we threw up there. Tahi, bro, Doggy's fullback. It's thrown a spanner in the works a little bit.
Yeah, I think Kiraz will just pick up the workhorse role. He played a game there last year, and he looked like he could just play that role. He was having 2 runs a set. And just eating up the meters, tackle breaks, offload. So the only thing I don't like about that is, try scoring on the edge, but that's more so just a selfish thing for my Supercoach team. I think that Rinakama will do really well on that edge outside critter anyway.
I was going to say, do you have Cochrane in your reserve, in your extender here, but you don't. So you got Toby Sexton, Curtis Moran, Saluka Fafita, Blake Wilson, and Mitchell Woods. So yeah, to your shout there. I was going to say, if they've got like an out-and-out fullback, like a Blake Taff or something like that, there's like maybe there would be a late switch there. But with your one, that's probably the only other option I could probably see happening really, other than Kiraz playing fullback.
I think Kiraz play fullback is the best option. I don't want to move Critter from center. I think he is so important to our defense in the line.
Yeah, and Jose, Brody called it for Brayley. Impressive. Yeah, he jumped on, since the start of the season, didn't you?
Yeah, bro. Out and out. Hooker.
Crazy.
Left him there.
What a call.
Ads has added a lot to his game.
Yeah, 100%.
And we did jump on the Gutho train well back.
We did. I remember that. Remember we had the discussion if he was going to be a season long, and he was just getting the scores left, right, and center, and
130,
fizzled out.
130. Like he fizzled out real quick.
What a crazy start to the year that Gutho had there too. So, all right, guys, I think that might do us for tonight. Thank you so much for all jumping on. Again, like some more viewers coming into the show. Appreciate you guys. Will be more Rugby League 26 content coming to the channel as well to the future. I want to do a couple of little career mode things and stuff, kind of just be a manager and maybe get into pro team again. But I hope you guys are enjoying that. Anything more, Brody, on your end? Obviously, we travel to Sydney next Friday.
Friday morning, yep. So we'll obviously have our show next week. It'll be a decent one, just for what we're hoping to get out of Sydney. And yeah, hopefully, Ash will get a fair bit of good content that we'll fill with you guys on the week after. But other than that, have a good weekend of rugby league, gentlemen. Go the Wars, go the Doggies.
Up the Dogs.
Scott Wood.
Up the Doggies, up the Wars, baby. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in as always.
Game plan, brother. Ciro's always got a game plan.
Hey, we've all got the greatest coaches in the competition right now.
We do.
All right,
so,
all right, bro.
Ciro. Laters, boys.
Take it easy, guys. Take it easy. Peace out. Chriso, jumping in the chat late there. Shout out to Chriso. Where have you been, Chris?
Actually, hey, I love you this week, Chriso. Fuck them Broncos.
Oh, that's mental. Yeah, guys. Also, yeah, keep an eye out on YouTube, guys. I'm on Wobble and Jaws channel as well to watch the women's Warriors versus the Cowboys. We got the Cowboys, the Dolphins. No, yeah, the Cowboys girls, because Dolphins don't have girls. Wag. But yeah, guys, keep an eye out on the channel. Chriso, you are a little bit too late. Feel free to rewatch the show. Shout out to your Parramatta Eels getting the job done against the Broncos.
Good job, brother. Good job.
Shut them Broncos.
Galvin versus Luai, brother. I can't wait either, and I hope we absolutely pump them. Go for Galvo to score a try.
Yeah.
Doggies 20+.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. All right, guys, enjoy your weekend. Take it easy. Otherwise, lighters.